Well, I'm Porter,
And I'm Penny.
and this is our first intro to our Gripping Iron channel. What are we doing? Why are we doing this, Penny?
There's so many reasons why we're doing this. We're going to get into that for you here shortly. Mostly it's because we love being members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and have strong testimonies in our beliefs. And we want to share and kind of share our strength and our reasons why we believe and why we stay in the church, and here's some of your reasons why you stay in your beliefs.
Yeah. So it's probably good to tell us a little bit about ourselves. We are normal, everyday people. We are nobody special. We're not massive scholars or well-educated individuals. We've spent most of our life in the church liking the gospel, loving the gospel, learning about the gospel, but never making it like the center of our life besides, just living the principles. We have a family that are some pretty good kids. We got a pretty good relationship. I'm happy with it. I don't know about you.
Very much so.
We could talk about what we've done in the church. I think between the two of us, we've probably held just about every calling that could be held in a branch and or ward, depending upon where we were living at the time. I've been Elders Quorum president, Relief Society president, counselors in both, primary president, Young Men's Organization, State Callings. Currently, Penny serves as a seminary teacher.
I do.
And I serve as a branch president, hopefully to be released soon.
And because I am a branch president's wife, I am also a primary worker.
Because that's how that works. Yeah, that's right. So, just like most families out there, we're kind of on the front lines of what we see happening and going on today. And we have strong feelings about that. Yeah. And so, let's. So, to give you an idea, and interrupt me whenever you want to there, Penny. The in growing up in the church, we've seen basically a lot of people go inactive, less active, whatever the term is for it nowadays. And of course, these are people that we grew up with, that were our friends, probably people that we looked up to and considered on better ground than what we were. We were kind of mutts, and these guys were really awesome.
Yeah, many of us, Porter and I both were raised by single mothers in the church who were converts, and used to kind of idealize some of the other families we'd watch in the church. I'd say probably less than half of the kids that I grew up with in my ward, I would say through my junior high and high school years, are still active. Most have left the church. Who came from nice, really strong families that I guess I never expected that. And I think
and we're mystified at how that could happen.
Yeah.
We're like, what?
It has enriched our lives so much, and it has changed our mothers who were converts. It changed their lives so drastically, and changed the trajectory of of their posterity, and from where they came from, and the direction of our lives. And best gift they ever gave us was to join the church. So we just are very grateful for the gospel and all that it's done for us. We are close enough to our family that is not LDS and our history to know the changes that it has brought about in our lives and in our families' lives, and want to keep our family strong, and are concerned about some of the trends that we see going on as far as people getting through some of the basics of the church and taking out their covenants, but turns out enduring to the end is the tricky part.
That's why it's, I guess, part of that, right? So what brings us to this weird moment where we're doing something that we're totally uncomfortable doing, have no interest in really doing except for this purpose? As we've seen people go inactive, would just be amazed time after time at how that could happen, and try to make sense of it, try and figure out. And then of course I become branch president in our little corner of the kingdom. And just to see so many people go inactive just real recently, there's been just a huge amount of inactivity, and just we see different patterns and we see different trends.
Huge increase during the pandemic.
Yeah, and but even before that, really. But yes, certainly during. And of course, there's all kinds of reasons why that is. But ugh, I don't know if any of them make it okay, right?
Right.
So, one thing that I started doing here towards the end of my time in the branch presidency is I started asking members, because what we would see is a trend of these individuals who would go hardcore inactive, and they'd make a video, or they put out a video or a letter on Facebook or something like that, blaming their parents, blaming the church, blaming stuff that it's like, what?
Lots of my reason for leaving videos, like
Yes.
just a ton of them, and just the fact that my profiles are members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter Day Saints, I feel like that connects somehow in the algorithm of
Yes.
social media, and I just have a deluge of this is why I left, this is why I don't believe in the church. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm not seeing anybody speak up and say, I'm still here, this is why I'm still here. It's just always all these negative, it's an onslaught, I feel.
So obviously, this is something that bothered us a lot. We thought about a lot. We talked a lot about, and independently, I started developing this idea to where if people leaving the church can make these videos of why they left and kind of, make their grand exit statement, well, why can't people that stay in the church make their grand statement of why they're
Right.
staying, right? And this is not a unique idea. There's a couple of things out there that are doing that. And
Hmm.
we just really wanted to focus on that a little bit more. So I started shopping it around to some of the members of our little branch here. And I would notice that, when asked, people would be like, yes, absolutely, I want to do that. And when it came down to nuts and bolts of putting a testimony out there, like on Facebook or something like that, maybe I don't want to be the first.
Yeah.
There's and I think for active members there is probably a concern, and we'll talk about that more maybe in later. This is just the intro, but there is that connection. So I was struggling with this right about the time I.
Yeah, that
I'll
part.
try to edit that out. I get a call from Petty.
And so I had just seen quite a bit online about it. I had been listening to some podcasts that you guys have probably heard of, like All In, and I was just wondering, what can I do? Like, what can I do? Because I was just increasingly sad about the state of things, but also concerned about all my children are almost, they're just on the cusp of adulthood, or they are adults. So we're going to
I,
be soon.
I think they'd be all counted as adults at this
Well,
point.
16, I don't know. We're going to be empty nesters soon. We've got one about to go on a mission. We've got one on a mission. We've got one at BYU, Idaho. And I just want them to know how much I believe, and I want them to have a way to connect with our testimonies and our grandchildren eventually someday when those come along. So I was thinking to myself, what can we do? And I called up my husband, and I think it was just a random
Yeah,
phone
out of the
call.
blue.
And I was like, why don't we start making some kind of video or podcast where we talk about all the reasons why we love the church and stay in the church and express all these things? And
And
so
it was
that's,
amazing
yeah.
because at this time I hadn't told her anything about my failed attempts at trying to get people's
Hmm.
testimony out there. I was just kind of doing that as, in my calling, and getting frustrated with that and having these same thoughts. And then yeah, she came with this call.
And I'm sure that many of you have had the same thought. I'm sure that it's out there that people are like, and so we kind of looked into it and we're like, well, what, it'd be kind of like why we stay in the church. And we kind of Googled that, and we found that Emily Bell Freeman's daughter had started a video series on Instagram called Why We Stay. Isn't that what it's called? And it's young kids, um, really young kids. I think they're early college age, probably my children's age. And as I listen to them, they're very cute and sweet, and they have a lot of good messages, and I love a lot of the different things that are out there. But it didn't really. It comes from a very different perspective because they're so young. And like my husband and I, we have been baptized, we've been sealed in the temple, we've taken out our endowments, we've um, helped our children to get that far so far, and but soon they'll be leaving. So like, what's going to keep us in the church? What's going to keep us there? What keeps us here? It's not teaching our children anymore. That's almost done with. It's going to have to be our own testimonies and our own love of the gospel.
And something that we'll talk about later, I think that is probably a big reason why a lot of people are in the church, And then once their children get raised and kind of do their own thing,
It gets more lax.
then they're like, well, yeah, let's go boating,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So, I think that is a phenomenon, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when she gave me that phone call, it was kind of like one of those big, lightning bolts from heaven kind of things. Like, okay, how is this possible? This is obviously something's working on both of us. Even if it's not of a supernatural origin, it's the Heavenly Father telling us something. Obviously, both of us are in the same mind of this. It'd probably be silly to sit on it. So we've hemmed and hawed and tried to figure out how to do YouTube stuff and all this stuff. And
Been laughed at by our children
have been
over
laughed
and
at
over. They're like, "Oh
children.
my gosh!"
And this will probably go nowhere, but
Yeah,
that's okay. That's
yeah.
okay.
Was it at the very, very least we have a video? We have videos that document our testimony of the gospel. At the very least, that's
Very
something
least.
that our children can look to, and our grandchildren can hear our voice talking about what we believe.
Because we're not journalers. We're not
Not
big.
journalers.
We're just horrible at
Well, I
that.
was when I was young, but it was more of a diary.
We're
Yeah.
not. We're not. So if this is the best we can do as journal, hey, great, let's do it.
Mhm.
And we're doing it in a way to where if other people can take advantage of it, great. So I guess what we're hoping as part of this Gripping Iron channel is that we do keep hearing time and time again that we want to kind of tag team a little bit. Penny, sorry, Penny. The when you guys see edits, we'll talk a little bit about our anonymous nature of why we're doing this. And so we apologize about all the edits that you'll see in doing this, but that's because I keep messing up and using Penny's real name. So I'm sorry. So we want to do some discussions that we have together. I think that's something that our children have benefited from. We are a household that discuss gospel things in raucous and loud ways at times. And sometimes are wrong, and sometimes we have to work out what's correct.
I think really it's my favorite part of our relationship is our discussions, and that's my favorite part of date night and everything is the ride in and the discussions that we have, and just some great conversations. And we have, since we've had COVID and we've had Come Follow Me in our home, we've had some awesome discussions with our kids that have just really been rich and wonderful. And so if nothing else, we have proof that we had good conversations.
Or proof that we've had bad conversations and we've been ridiculous
We like
all
our
the
own
time.
conversations.
Another part of what we want, and whether we do this in playlists or, we're trying to figure this out how we do this, is an area where we can just present topics. I have a list of things that over the years I've collected thoughts and ideas on. And so, if anything, I want to make sure that my children always have that ability to touch back on those thoughts and basically talks I've done in the past, so that they can, because, they've probably forgotten them all. Penny's the same.
we've kind of made the
It's gonna be tough.
we have made
My goodness.
the conscious decision that when we come up with a topic, that we'll talk about the topic and study it individually, so that when we come together for the discussion, it's not like we planned it together, but that we can come together and discuss what we have found, and try to get both two different sides and two different viewpoints and make it even richer that way. So,
And then the third portion or playlist or whatever that we want to do, which is actually the part that I'm excited about most, is that idea once again of, if others can make big exit statements, why can't we make big staying statements, right? Every testimony Sunday, we have people get up and bear their testimonies, and that's great. Why can't we put that out there? I'm sure there's this idea that we can't do it because we don't want to throw our pearls before swine. I got extra pearls. I got no problem throwing them out
I
there, I
just wonder,
guess.
like some of the people that we know and love that have left the church, and a lot of it is because they're listening to this stuff nonstop. They're
And don't
listening
have
to
anything else. They don't have a
all this negative
countervoice.
stuff. It's like, is there a what if they bump into one thing that was like, this is why I stay. This is what I believe. Maybe that would help. And it's not. We have no. We aren't going to make anything if anyone stays. We're not going to, like. We have no.
Nope.
Nothing except for wanting to express our love for the gospel, and hope that someone else gets something from that. There'd be no benefit to us in any other way.
So what we're hoping that we can have accomplished is have individuals submit their own testimonies, little 3 to 5, 8-minute testimonies of why they believe, whether it be a doctrine, whether it be a story, whether it be a whatever, of why they stay, why they believe, why they go to church. Um, and you don't have to be 100% solid to do that. Uh, in the comments below, please go ahead and list certain ways to do that. We're trying to figure out how the best way to do that is. We really have no idea. Whether you send it to the gripping iron at Gmail email or not is up to you. I don't know. But we're trying to figure out how that goes. So figuring that out how that goes. So one of the things, and we'll talk about this later more, but one of the things that we're consciously doing in this uh, attempt is we're being anonymous. Both of us are employed successfully in kind of public trust jobs. We are well aware of the sentiment and the nature of public opinion out there and how it's probably going to get worse over the next decade.
We're in small town.
Yes, we are in a small town. And so we are certainly aware that how being viewed as religious could be a negative thing. And a lot of people might have opinions about this. I don't think we care. It's a way for us to be able to do this comfortably. I think doing it anonymously allows us to maybe say things that we wouldn't normally be able to say out of fear of reprisal or offending somebody, probably more offending somebody more than anything else. And ultimately, um, I think part of the idea of being anonymous is that it affords us the ability to be wrong. I think in order to have some discussions that we want to have, we don't want to be limited by our lack of knowledge. We want to be able to have a discussion, have somebody post in the comment, hey, you might want to actually think about this and be corrected.
Be able to retract it.
Right. I think that's a very strong thing. But ultimately, I think there's a lot of strength in the idea that, especially as people put their testimonies, hopefully they do it anonymously as well.
Share openly.
Yeah, you can just do that and share openly about it. I want to promote, I don't know if Penny's on board with this, but I certainly promote the idea of Mormon activism, the idea that we can be active in what we do, whether it's through anonymous posting or real posting, but always just make sure there's a counter argument. There's so much negativity out there and anti stuff. We all know there is, but to just be able to put out there, this is my opinion, or I believe this, or obviously you've had different experiences than I had because I've had these experiences, and to be able to do that in a way to where we are active, we are that other voice, and not only that, but also there are so many great podcasts out there. There's so many great YouTubers out there that are pro LDS and doing a really good job. We want to highlight those. We would rather you go listen to them instead of listen to us.
More
and
knowledgeable,
so
more trained.
yeah, we
send
hope
people to where they need to go.
We hope not just to add our voice, but to point you in the direction of those guys. And we'll talk about a lot of those individuals that we enjoy listening to. Would love to hear about you, what you like listening to. That's all part of that Mormon activism, the idea of always be listening to good things. You know, we got prophets and apostles, of course, we can listen to, but we also have lots of podcasts and lots of commentary on prophets and apostles that are good, positive things. Penny, what do you think?
I think that activism is probably the lowest thing on my reasons of why I want to do it. I work with.
She does not like that term.
I work with children and I work with youth, and I worked with children and youth for a very long time. I'm a teacher by profession, and so the idea of just education, asking questions, answering questions, being thoughtful about how you answer things and how you study is something that I'm more interested in. I'm interested in the richness of finding a topic and studying it and then having new personal revelation for myself and things that I can share with others. And I just want, if there's someone out there who needs to hear that it's okay to live the church, that voice is out there.
Yeah. So in the end, once again, I'll close mine and let you close with however you want. But it's just this idea that we want to make sure we understand that we're not experts. We are certainly not experts. We are wrong a lot, and we kind of enjoy being wrong. So we are not experts. We enjoy listening to experts. So as
Mhm.
part of what we're doing, we really want to point people to those individuals that we enjoy listening to. We always see a difference between those people that I would certainly classify as anti and those that are just sharing the gospel, sharing parts of history or whatever that they learned. Those people that are anti, they have such a dark countenance. They're just negative. They're just angry. Uh, they're they're not anybody I would want to spend time with. Meanwhile, those individuals who are sharing the gospel and the things that they're just having a good time, and I love that countenance. And they're not like, uh, oh, what's the big tooth guy? Not to speak evil of other people's religion,
Big
but
tooth guy.
yeah, they're not like the preachers on TV that are
Talk about
all,
Joel Osteen.
yeah,
Oh,
they're not like
jeez.
that kind of
Big
happy.
tooth guy.
They're happy like they're happy like I just came from a great movie. I want you guys to see this movie too.
Mhm.
They just having a good time. So as part of that, I will certainly just throw out a couple of individuals I enjoy listening to. Saints Unscripted, of course. They are just doing a bang up job. Of course, they've been doing this better than and longer than anybody else I think out there probably at this point. Just doing a fantastic job. And then Latter Day Q&A. He's if you look him up on YouTube, he's just a fantastic little guy. He might not be little. I don't know. I apologize if I'm being diminutive there, but he looks like he is. And he's just the way he talks about things and he goes through things in kind of a rapid fashion, hitting just some great topics. But he just the way he references books as he goes through, he reads just volumes and volumes of books and is able to categorize it and present it in a way to where this is the book that you want to read for this is the book, and I just love that about him. And he just is having a good time over there, and I just respect the heck out of that
So
guy.
you're gonna share links in the
Hopefully, if I
yeah.
can figure out how to do that.
For me, when I'm doing extra work at the school or when I'm at home or in the car, I listen every week to Don't Miss This, of course. Very happy, positive, wonderful insights that I love there. I listen to All In, and I also listen to Unshaken, which is another podcast that talks about testimonies and how they need to be unshaken. So those are three of my favorites, my top list.
Anything else, Penny?
No. If there is anyone out there that this video ever finds, then thank you for coming and enjoy the ride with us.
But more
Comment.
than anything, what we suggest is uh, do it yourself. Start putting out material yourself in a positive way. The more voices are out there, the better. So yeah, that's hopefully that whole activism portion of it. Be active.
Amen.
Amen. Have we talked about how we end these things and just kind of do we just say bye? What do we do?
You gotta have a catchphrase to say at the end.
Uh,
White knuckle that bad boy.
White knuckle that iron rod. There you go. All right, we'll work on that. Bye.
Bye.